Hello guys, welcome to our channel. Today we are going to watch States of Germany Explained. So Bundesländer, that's what states are called. And we don't know about any states of Germany. We just know Germany and the famous city Berlin. That's what we know. So let's see what are the states and what are their advantages or disadvantages. Let's watch this
video. That being said, let's just jump into the 16 Bundesländer of Germany.
16 states.
Baden-Württemberg, capital Stuttgart. This is like the other southern state besides Bavaria. It was formed by the joining of three other former states. It's kind of like the luxury car state. You know, they have the headquarters of Mercedes-Benz and Porsche. Lots of manufacturing going down here.
The manufacturing state.
They're also known for having the Black Forest, where all those fairy tales were inspired off of by Brothers Grimm, which also plays into the unique Swabian culture that they're known for down here. Swabians have possibly the weirdest dialect in all of Germany. A lot of Germans can't even understand them, and it incorporates a lot of weird, unique festivals. A lot of times they wear these costumes based off of the fairy tales that came from here. Switzerland is like their best friend. They really just kind of get each other. A lot of Swiss people come over and travel to this area of Germany, and they're known for being really smart with their money and handling it very well, which also kind of means a lot of people think they're kind of stingy. That's like the stereotype. Geography Jessica says it is a sacrilege to throw stuff out, even if it's a broken TV or something. Bavaria, or Bayern, capital Munich. This is the largest state in size and the second largest in terms of population. It's kind of like the home of all those, perpetuated German stereotypes that became famous through American culture. Lederhosen, dirndls, those big 1 liter jugs of beer, houses, stuff like that. Reason being because after World War II, this place was occupied by the Americans, and whatever they saw, they just kind of put in media. They're kind of like the most independent out of all the German states. I mean, they even had their own king at one point. He went crazy and drowned himself. They have more of like a Catholic background, and Austria is kind of like their conjoined twin. Like they get along really well with Austria. Beautiful mountains here. In fact, the tallest mountain in all of Germany, Zugspitze, is found here as well. And no shocker, they are really, really, really known for beer. There's like over 4,000 breweries here. The oldest one in all of Germany is also found here. And, all Germans kind of have their own opinions on Bavaria. Otto von Bismarck even once said, the Bavarian is the link between human and Austrian. Berlin, also the capital of Germany, is not only the largest city in Germany, but it's also one of the 3 city-states, as in cities that are considered states. Now, when I asked a lot of you German geography peeps to describe Berlin, a lot of you, even from Berlin, kind of said something along the lines of, why do we even have this city? In 2003, former mayor Klaus Wowereit described Berlin as poor but sexy. It's pretty much the only capital city in all of Europe that costs more than it earns. As in, the entire country's GDP could be higher if Berlin didn't exist. It's like you either love it or hate it. Geography Mara says it's like the city where Germans go to find themselves. Starving artists, aspiring EDM and techno musicians trying to make a point while unemployed. No, but seriously, the city does have some cool sides.
The hustle city.
Art scene. What's weird though is you can still kind of see the distinction between East and West Berlin because it was split after the war. And it's kind of like a weird place where capitalism and communism coalesce in one location. I mean, I guess Berlin is kind of like the rebel punk rock teenager who locks himself in his room because his parents just don't understand him. Brandenburg, capital Potsdam. Jakob Jakob says, people joke that this state is the dead zone that surrounds Berlin. Berlin has more people than the entire state of Brandenburg. This is the first of the 5 states that make the former East Germany before the unification. It's kind of known as like the slow to get things done state, as in their airport was always supposed to be done this year, but they always say that like every year, and it's been like
German efficiency.
Let's see, lots of former Prussian history here. Lots of cool stuff to see here though, like the Roman baths or the Cottbus Castle, the Anderhavel City Museum. They actually have like these cool medieval walls from the 14th century. One of the most notable sites being the Palace of Sanssouci. Lots of Eastern Europeans live here, especially Polish. I mean, they are on the border with Poland. They're kind of like the sidekick of Berlin that like tags along and wants to join his punk rock band, I guess you could say. Bremen. This is actually another city-state. However, it's more of like 2. It's broken up into Bremen and Bremerhaven. This is the smallest and least populated state in all of Germany at only about 660,000 people. Back in the day, it was labeled as a free Hanseatic city back when the Hanseatic League was a thing. That's a whole other thing we could talk about. Lots of marine culture here. Actually, people who want to become sailors come to Bremen and Bremerhaven. Beck's beer comes from here, as well as chocolate beer, both of which many Germans hate. Let's see, what else do they have? They have the Bremer Stadtmusikkanten statue. They have the only microgravity tower in Europe where you can experience 9 seconds of weightlessness, 8 mummified bodies, in glass coffins, and a memorial block in the street dedicated to a female serial killer. Charming. But yeah, Bremen is just kind of like this unique, quaint, yet always kind of competing with Hamburg state. Which brings us to Hamburg. Hamburg is the last of the 3 city-states, and it is pretty much the richest state in all of Germany. You gotta love these guys.
Will be the
because people
costliest
from Hamburg
too.
are called Hamburgers. Sometimes they're called the Venice of the North Sea because they have all these neighborhoods that are separated by
so
canals
beautiful.
and bridges. Like Bremen and Bremerhaven, they have a harbor built on the Elbe River, which gives them access to the sea, and they have a huge maritime culture, even though they are technically not on the sea. And they are getting quite a bit of attention these days because Hamburg is kind of like the IT capital of Germany.
Like
right
Bangalore,
now.
India.
I also mentioned that they have the most famous red light district in all of Germany, the adult-themed Reeperbahn. I did not know that. Lots of cool sights you can see here, though. Oh, and they love fish here. Kind of like the techie rich guy who loves his fish. Next up, Hesse, or Hessen, capital Wiesbaden.
Hessen.
Much of today's Hesse state belonged to the former Hessen Duchy back in the day. It was an independent state all the way up until 1871, and they are most famous for Frankfurt. It has more
Yeah, I've heard this
skyscrapers than
name.
any other city, and it has the busiest airport in all of Germany as well. And it is kind of like the business hub of Germany. It's home to so many corporate banks and financial institutions, also home to the German Stock Exchange. And Goethe, one of the most important writers in German history, is from Frankfurt. Well, they love apples, especially drinking it in various ways. They love apple cider. There's even a fountain that shoots apple wine at you. Yeah, Hessen is kind of like
Apple
it's like the
wine?
financial management brother of the family. Lower Saxony,
free.
capital Hanover. It's the second largest state
Hanover.
in terms of area, and it's called Lower Saxony because of the elevation, not because of the geographic location on the map. Keep that in mind. This state gets along very well with the Netherlands. This state kind of has like 2 cultures, the Plain Saxons and the Frisians, whom are related to the Frisians in the Netherlands. It's kind of like the country farmland area of Germany. They host a lot
Punjab.
of fairs like the World Fair Expo in 2000. However, interestingly enough, you can also hear quite a bit of Plattdeutsch spoken here as well, which is the dialect that the Amish speak in the Americas. It's also the headquarters of Volkswagen, and they also have Volksburg, which is the city with the highest GDP per capita in the entire country. It's like the richest city. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, capital Schwerin. This is actually the poorest state in Germany, and it is the second former East Germany
Even the
state.
poorest
As
is
the
so
name
rich.
implies, Vorpommern, it was part of the former area known as Pomerania, which, yes, that's
It's
where
a
the
dog name.
Pomeranian dog comes from. Some people joke that it should be called Mecklenburg-Vorpolen because it has a lot of Polish influence. It's right next to Poland. They even share and split this island with them called Usedom. It is very rural and sparsely populated. It has a lot of farmers and old people. In fact, it is disputably the oldest state in all of Germany. Tons of lakes here, though. The largest lake completely within Germany is actually found here as well. They also have the largest island in all of Germany. Beautiful beaches, cool places with like chalk cliffs. But yeah, Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. It's kind of like the old angry grandpa that yells at the kids for running on his lawn. North Rhineland-Westphalia, capital Dusseldorf. This is like the big daddy of Germany. It's the most populated with about 17 million. It's the powerhouse industrial capital of Germany.
There
Much
are
of its
so
economy
many
was built off
industrial
of coal
houses,
mining in the
manufacturing
beginning.
houses,
And today
this
they
and
have
that.
more companies and factories than anywhere else in Germany. People here have a deep-rooted Catholic culture. They love celebrating Carnival. The 2 biggest cities, Dusseldorf and Cologne, are always like competing with each other. There's really cool Frank Gehry architecture in Dusseldorf. Cologne has the Cologne Cathedral, obviously. And Cologne is kind of like the media capital of Germany. Much of the major studios can be found here. But yeah, overall, this state is kind of like the partying dad of Germany.
I like it.
Rhineland-Palatinate,
I'll go there.
Capital Mainz. This is kind of like the younger brother of Rhineland-Westphalia, except they love wine. Like, it's often argued that the best German wine can be found in this state. There's a lot of historical sites and castles, especially ones that date back to the days when France was always like invading and taking over. They also have the last bastion of Roman presence north of the Alps in the town of Trier. It's also the birthplace of Karl Marx. They are known for liverwurst. It's kind of like the loyal sidekick of Rhineland-Westphalia. Saarland, capital Saarbrücken. Besides the city-states, it is the smallest state in area. Basically, the people here are like Frenchy Germans. The area was occupied by France after World War II, and they were actually their own independent state all the way up until 1957 when they decided to go back to Germany, which explains why the people here are really good at speaking speaking French. Geography Fiona says they are like the long-lost uncle that you don't know how you're related to and speaks French. The most notable site, though, probably being the Völklingen Ironworks. It's a massive rusting steel plant that is now a UNESCO heritage site. Today, it holds a museum, science center, and an auditorium for concerts. I wouldn't be surprised if heavy metal concerts were a big thing here. I'm just saying. Saxony. Capital, Dresden. This is the third former East European state. Geography Thorsten explains it pretty well when he says, the Saxons are one of the oldest German tribes, with having a lot of political influence in the early times of the Holy Roman Empire, and with some of them even creating something of what we now know today as England, hence why many British people say that they're Anglo-Saxon, and why the English language is classified as a Germanic language. It kind of started here. Interesting, right? This place is kind of known for having two things: great universities and very right-wing politics. They get along really well with Czechia / the Czech Republic, whatever you like calling it. They have a minority group called the Sorbians, a Slavic people group, kind of related to the Czechs, and it's actually a language that is protected by the German government. Nonetheless, though, I've been told that the people here are really super nice. They have like that East German hospitality. It's just, they're different from the rest of Germany, especially Lower Saxony. Like the two Saxonies have nothing to do with each other. Saxony-Anhalt. Capital.
There's another one.
This is the fourth former East German state. It's often said that they call themselves the state that wakes up earlier. This is basically kind of like Saxony's chiller little sister. It's also the birthplace of Martin Luther, who started the Protestant Reformation. Baroque composer Handel was born here. It is home to the Bauhaus movement, and they love Christmas here. They have a huge Christmas market and produce a lot of nutcrackers. When I was told they are home to the mountain of Brocken, which on April 30th becomes the site of the Walpurgisnacht, a night of dancing with witches based off of the story by Goethe. Schleswig-Holstein, capital Kiel, named after the two duchies that worked together for centuries. It is the only bi-coastal state in Germany with coasts along the North Sea and the Baltic. And it's basically like the Denmark of Germany. There's a lot of Danish people here, Danish-speaking people here, and it's actually a protected, recognized language.
Germany is so intermingled with all the neighbors.
Saying moin moin. And the cool thing is, on the North Sea coastline on the west side, they have the largest cohesive tidal flats in the world. A natural World Heritage site. Twice a day, the tide recedes, exposing a massive mud flat. Of course, no surprise, fishing and sailing are huge out here. They actually have a huge sailing competition every year. Yeah, the people here are kind of known for being like tall, animal herding people that are really quiet. Like they
Germans
don't
are
talk
tall.
much. And finally, Thuringia or Thüringen, capital Erfurt, the last and final state of former East Germany. This place is probably most famous for the city of Weimar. As Geography Thorsten says, it is the home of Johann Wolfgang Goethe and Friedrich von Schiller. Their works in the so-called Sturm and Drang era was so influential that it was manifested in a saying about Germany. Germany is the country of poets and thinkers. They were kind of like the Shakespeares of Germany back in the day. Much of their writing actually influenced a lot of words and phrases for modern German that is spoken today. The composer Bach was born here. You can see his house. And interesting, they have a lot of caves here as well, like these. And they're known for having really good food here as well. They have like these potato dumpling things. And all Germans love Thuringian style bratwurst. They're famous for it. So there you go. Those are
Germany is so interconnected with its neighbors. Like there is one state that is so close to Switzerland, and then there is another state that is very close to Poland and have Polish people, and then one state has all the Denmark related people. So they accept each other very well, and due to that there is so good harmony, and everybody can experience new cultures also. And because I think say French people or German people or Polish people come in, so they might have their own homeland in Germany. So it's such a nice thing to say.
I just love that line that it's a land of poets and thinkers. That just made me think, because I'm so into poems and this all shairis and stories and a lot of things. And Germany is very unique. And one thing I like about Germany is that they respect and they just love their own language. We find it complicated, but if we talk about India, so India is a country where our national language is Hindi, but people prefer to speak English. So I really don't like this thing, but Germans just speak German in their own.
Yeah, but they also learn English as their second language.
It's a universal language, like kind of global language.
Yes,
it
but
requires.
And in India too, there are many languages, like 40-50 languages. You can just go every 100 kilometers, the language changes.
Yeah.
So that is what India is. So what do you guys think about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share and
Subscribe.
bye.